Greetings. I'm Scott Usher. I'm the creative director at Havenlight, and this is Havenlight Artist Spotlight. We are here in the studio today with Lacey Christenson. Lacey, welcome to Artist Spotlight.
Thank you for having me. You're so great.
Thanks for coming up from the farm.
Yes.
Where's the farm? You're a country girl. Tell me about what's going
Farmland
on.
of Gunnison. I grew up, both my husband and I, both of our families, our farming families, it's just been in our history. My dad grew up farming on a really big farm. They started in Texas and then moved to Overton, Nevada. And then my husband's family still farms to this day. And they're in Gunnison.
Anything about growing up on a farm? You say you like landscape.
Oh, I love it.
I remember reading something about your father. You think a guy that's a farmer, all this other stuff, but you had a pretty extensive list of kind of crafty hobby things he was doing. How does that start impacting you?
Oh my gosh. Just from an early age, I've just always been fascinated with people being able to use their hands to make, craft, build, paint, whatever, and just all the way down to the ingredients. Like, you can do anything you want with your own two hands.
We're here today to talk about a couple different pieces that you have. You have a neat program that's going to be starting with Brave Books.
Yeah,
And
so
we
excited.
thought we'd talk about some of the pieces that you put together that Brave Books is going to be featuring.
Yes.
So one of the first pieces we have that we're looking at right here is a piece called Triumphant. Walk us a little bit through Triumphant.
Triumphant was quite interesting. Sometimes I feel like maybe your spirit and your heart, or the spirit, knows more than maybe what your mind and your eyes know. And that's kind of what happened with this. I was actually wanting to do a sky, and I didn't want any references. I just wanted to go sit out on my porch. I just wanted peace. And I started drifting towards the mountains, and then you see down here kind of the mountains that are by my house. But of course, my mind always goes, for some reason, art to me is Christ. So I'm always trying to...
God is a creator.
Yeah, he created all the beauty, and
Artists
like
are creators.
what a beautiful
It's
creation.
divine.
Yeah. So of course, and I always think of the perfect palettes, and so of course my mind starts going there and into heaven, and then I start thinking about the spirit, kind of what I was saying, and then I wonder how impactful, and I think this all the time actually. Just even at the grocery store, just with my kids, I wonder how impactful our guardian angels or our ancestors are, like, in those moments. Are those them? Are we being in tune and hearing them? And then all of a sudden I went from clouds to, oh my gosh, like, they're everywhere. They're with us all the time, and then of course you go back to Christ and you think, what like a beautiful thing for him to break, the bonds of death, so that we can have those insights, we can be close, and the veil can be so thin. And I just think that it's because of our Savior in Gethsemane, and how thankful I am. It just kind of came together that way, and then all of a sudden it was a painting. I don't know why all of my paintings are almost just totally white and really light colors, but that looks like heaven to me, I think.
Got another piece? This one's called Morning Star.
Yes. This one was another where I feel like I had so many feelings, so much in my heart, so much in, my mind, and the spirit, and sometimes I have to let that guide me. Heaven is just fields and any kind of open land, really, heaven's here on earth. And I love just open spaces. And so that's kind of where that started. And then something that always gets me is we're always, the black sheep, or, there's always just one, but in my mind, I think we're all the black sheep. So I just kind of changed these were us following him, coming back to heaven and this beautiful world, but I just thought, aren't we all just the black sheep? So they're all black sheep right there.
They're all black sheep that are down below.
Yeah.
I remember I read a really interesting thing about black sheep recently. The iconography attached to the idea of black wasn't always bad. There's a thing that evolved over time that we started depicting that this black sheep was a black sheep. But like I say, it actually didn't start that way. It's not the way it initially was. Another thing, I love this idea of the morning star here. And you said, every morning, there is a reliability to the morning star. That's why you've called this. Yeah. So you've got the black sheep, but who's the morning star? Why the morning star?
Christ. You can rely on him as surely as the morning star, as surely as the sun coming up and going down. There's not very many things that you can 100% rely on in life, but it's like guaranteed, no matter what, Christ. Centered on Christ. You can rely on him for anything. That's just kind of what it comes down to. So
we have a program that we run here, this idea of put a picture of Christ in every child's room. And I think you just hit it with the morning star.
Yeah.
And, the influence that a positive imagery can have.
Our kids need that.
And giving kids something that just says, look at this. This is good.
Yeah.
This is the ideal.
A firm foundation. You just... If my kids leave my house knowing 100% that they have something 100% to fall back on, like Christ, their family, their parents, that Christ loves them and their parents love them no matter what, I think that's I'd be happy with that.
They have that to fall back on. They also have that to build their character on.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Today's episode is brought to you by Haven Light, the premier religious art dealer with curated collections to help you find your Jesus and invite more light into your home. If you've been looking for a piece of religious art, shop our curated collections at the link in the description below and use code PODCAST20 for 20% off of your order. Let's get back to today's episode.
This is a piece that doesn't necessarily have Christ on it, so different, but I know a bunch of your work and not everything you do is Christ-centered. So tell us a little about this one. This is Family Prayer.
Yes.
And it's got quite the story attached to it.
Sometimes I actually think I try and paint the feeling of Christ, because I rarely have words and it sounds like I have a ton of them right now, but it's probably because we're just talking about art and Christ.
Yeah.
But when I get in this situation that I'll talk about, I rarely have words for it. I rarely share any of my deep stories that have happened, memories or anyways. So I want to paint a feeling, so where those words aren't, there's art that fills the room.
Actually, I'm going to stop you real quickly because you just said something that's really interesting. Art fills the room. And this idea of sometimes you don't have the words for it.
Yeah.
But art fills the room. And again, the idea of putting a picture of Christ in every child's room, the idea of what you can do, the influence that what you put on the walls around you has on there, because sometimes you don't have the words. Yeah. Hallmark built a business because nobody thinks they can say this stuff that comes out in greeting cards. The whole idea is I'm really uncomfortable saying these things. It's hard for me to say these things. Sometimes it's tough for me to deliver these things. But what you get the chance to do with pictures,
penetrate it.
Pictures worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, can't penetrate. Yeah. Words can't penetrate the heart like art can. So that's why it needs to be everywhere.
So anyway, I interrupted a really deep story. So.
Oh, no, you're okay. So I was trying to put on canvas what my words can't say. And this was one of my really good friends came to me with this idea, and I connected with her on this level. And I had so much insight. And I'm like, I know exactly what you're talking about. Let me do this for you. So I drew her and her husband, me and my husband, whenever there's an obstacle, whenever there's like a Thanksgiving, anything, this is how we seem to pray. I always seem to cuddle up next to him. They seem like we're having a conversation with Christ.
Mm-hmm.
I've done another picture like this, so I could just see it. Like I could exactly how she was just begging Christ for her miracle that she's needing. Our kids were not coming in the order and in the time and in this place and in this span of time. Like I thought my 20s were for all these babies. Like I was just going to have this huge family, you know?
Yeah.
And then at one point at a specialist appointment, she had told me that I continued to have miscarriages. And something about that, I didn't like to hear that. I needed Christ. Like I felt like it was just the darkest place that I had hit. Like why? I feel like I'm a pretty good person. Why are these blessings being held
Taken
from
away,
me?
yeah.
You know, like, anyways, I can attest now that 7 years later, the time, you know, it's on God's time, and it was not supposed to be in my 20s and all these things that we think, and, you know, they don't really measure up to God's plan. So we had them later, but she's still in that hitting rock bottom and feeling like rock bottom, the floor is going to fall out again. And there's another rock bottom and this is never going to change. But it does. Yeah. So there's always with Christ, there's always something beautiful in the end. Whatever it is, there's always something beautiful, a beautiful outcome. And so this became, and so the miscarriage part, that's what these beautiful angels are representing. And I used to think, even like as a kid, I wonder on the other side of the veil, I wonder what influence is this sweet little whisper. Is that like one of my kids? You know, like they know me so well and I know them. And was that my sweet boy? You know, like I would think stuff like that.
This could be a regular couple who have not just had a child yet, and this is everything's come down the line.
I mean, this is children. This could be your miscarries. This could be anything. Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. She didn't actually specifically tell me that she had miscarriages. So I took it that way. I thought those babies are with you no matter what. Whether it's right now that you're going to have those babies, those spirit children, they're with you in the next life too. You'll have the chance to have those babies. So, anyways. Just they're there with them while they're praying, and it's so hard for us to see.
It's a beautiful piece.
Oh, thanks. I love that one a lot.
All right. Last but not least.
Ooh.
He has come.
This one, I always think of this moment. And so, of course, it had to come. What will it be like? I always pray, please come soon. Like, things in this world, you know, we have no idea all over the world, the pain and that people go through on the daily. And so whenever I hear something, I always stop and pray, like, please come soon. And then I always think, I wonder what will I be doing? What will my kids be doing at that moment? Which always leads me to, I wonder what that moment for Christ is going to be like in that moment. Like, finally come back to his children here on earth. And what will I can't imagine. Like on Tangled, we were just watching Disney, you know, when she touches the water for the first time, you know, how beautiful. And I know that it's not his first time, but coming to that second coming, that time that he's been waiting for to come back, you know, I just can't imagine.
Yeah. Is it going to be all fire and brimstone?
Yes.
You know,
is it going to be clouds?
Exactly.
What is it going to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. And to me, it's always just beautiful, like, landscape. I just love the earth.
Why can't it be beautiful?
Why can't it?
You know?
Yeah,
why
exactly.
Can't it be beautiful?
So just a beautiful field and him coming, and I just, you know, it would have to be. It would have to be. That's my God. It's just beautiful.
I don't have a picture of it here, but I want to ask you about the piece right now.
Okay.
Broken.
Ooh.
Which is just the piece that I'll just say I met you because of. I was just like, wow, this is really cool. This is special.
Yeah.
Tell me about Broken.
Ooh, that was also during this like time. It seemed like if 100 floors could fall out from under you, you think you hit rock bottom. That's how I would describe this point in my life, where it was just like, okay, this is rock bottom. Nope, that floor's gone. Yeah. There's another rock bottom.
Oh, there's bottomer.
It gets worse. That's what this was, and I remember feeling so alone. My immediate family is not. Like my mother, my father, we're not very close knit. I guess what I need in a family is what I should say. I'm sure they've tried their hardest, and and respect to that. But I remember I just needed so much more. I just needed something, and I just needed to know that Christ. Sometimes I think we need to almost feel him, like show me that you're real, be here. And I just remember praying, and I've had more times like this before, and I remember being reminded of that while I was praying, where I almost feel embodied or embraced. Everything's going to be okay. Trust me.
Back to the morning star.
Yes. Trust me, lean on me, let go a little bit. I'm in control. And then again, it just takes me back to, I wonder how thin the veil really is. I wonder who that is, embracing me. Is it Christ? Mm-hmm. Is it, someone he sent? I wonder how many angels he has sent just for me and just for Emmy, my little girl, and so, I would have to say that was just one of my, 100 rock bottoms moment, and that did change my life.
But he sends a host of angels.
Yes.
In your lifetime, you have a host of angels.
Yeah, and I just love it. And you ask and you shall receive with him.
Yeah.
So, that's what that was.
Yeah, like I say, it's a really deep and wonderful piece, and you really get that sense of, I'm down, but here's the help.
Yeah.
Coming to you.
Yeah. And who are they? I just love.
Nice.
It'll be nice to know.
Well, thank you for coming in and joining us today.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Look forward to having you back again.
I can't wait.
I'm Scott Usher. This has been Haven Light Artist Spotlight, and we have been here with Lacey Christenson. Thanks for coming in today.
Thanks so much, Scott.